NHS finance problem being ignored, says former boss. The NHS is facing a substantial financial problem which politicians are ignoring in the election campaign, the former head of the service says. Sir David Nicholson, who retired last year, told the BBC the NHS in England was accruing large deficits which would become crystal clear later this year. But he said instead of talking about how to address these, politicians were focusing on expanding services. He said the situation caused him very great concern. In an interview for BBC Radio 4's Today programme, Sir David, who ran the NHS in England for 8 years, said that because there was an election period, the NHS was unable to publish the latest report on its financial position. But he said it was pretty clear in the NHS that there is a substantial financial problem, particularly in the hospital sector, which would become crystal clear in the autumn. During the interview he said, it would be helpful if Labour committed to an extra £8 billion of funding, as the Conservatives and Liberal Democrats have, but all parties needed to make it available immediately, not by the end of the Parliament. Politicians were talking about extra services when there was already a financial hole. Planned NHS efficiencies of £22 billion were a big ask. Failure to achieve them would lead to managed decline of the NHS and patients waiting longer for treatment. He expects emergency action such as vacancy freezes to tackle the financial difficulties. The coalition government's NHS reforms were a surprise and significant distraction. He defended his role in Stafford Hospital scandal, where he spent 10 months in charge of the local health authority in 2005 and 2006. Sir David predicted the scale of the problem would be bigger than the one he inherited in 2006 on becoming NHS chief executive, when the health service had accrued a £1 billion deficit. I have not heard in most of